There we go. I got
What
you.
up?
Sorry, man. It's my end,
You
bro.
good?
It's connected to like a wrong speaker. I don't know what speaker it was trying to connect to, but it wasn't the right speaker.
It wasn't that speaker though, was it?
No, it wasn't, man. Sorry about
Love
that,
it,
man.
bro. All good, man. What's up? How's your day going?
Busy, 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 man. How about you?
Man, dude, same. Busy, running through a bunch of crazy stuff. I onboard new people, bro. So it's wild. Same thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's tax season, man. So we're booming right now.
yeah, no, I bet. Now's the time for the sales side.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You know how it is, man. You did appliance too. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. No, so yeah, I appreciate you coming on today, bro. Excited to get to know more about you. We got Tim slash TJ. I'm not even about to butcher your last name with my Louisiana accent. You want to help me out with your last name?
Yeah, it's Gallegos.
Cool. Good thing I
Yeah,
didn't try.
yeah.
So I love it, Tim. No, it's great to have you on, bro. I appreciate you getting with me, and I'm excited to learn more about your story. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in, bro. I'd love to hear more about the beginning of the story. How did you first get into the appliance business?
Yeah, man. So I had a friend that owned an appliance store, and it's kind of passed down through his family, I guess, kind of through generations. And he'd been doing it for a long time, and I honestly didn't really even know that there was really any money to be made in the appliance industry like that, fixing and flipping, even repairs. I don't know. I guess I just never really thought about that. And we used to go to school together. Then we separated for a while. Life happened. Later on down the road, we kind of rekindled. And yeah, man, I just started figuring out like, man, there's a lot of money to be made here. You're having really good success. This is just, yeah, this is nuts. So then was kind of fortunate enough to kind of get taken under his wing a little bit and helped him out at the shop a little bit here and there, and just kind of learned kind of some ins and outs. Started learning the appliances. And I said, you know what? I think I could do something like this on my own. So I just started getting some appliances, man, and tried to start fixing and flipping on the side of my house. And it was scary at first, man. Um, I try to do it. It's primarily as kind of like a side hustle at first to see if I could make money. See, am I going to be able to sell these things, stuff like that. And after about a month or two, man, I was having really good success, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the leap, man. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to jump in and see what happens. And it was really scary, but I learned a lot of things. I started off with just a couple washers and dryers, mainly on the side of the house, and then it was one of those things where once you sell to somebody, it's like, hey, I'll take your old dryer from you or your old washer, right? So then you try to fix that, and then you flip it, and then before you know it, it was like, man, now I got to figure out how am I going to get more inventory? How do I get more washers and dryers and kind of get something going a little bit more? And so I just started talking to a lot of people, man, and met some scrappers and started buying some appliances from them, and really just started growing from there. And and then I ended up talking one of my cousins into coming and being a sales guy with me, because starting getting to the point, it was really challenging to do it all by yourself. The cleaning, the picking up, the delivering. There's really good money in that when you're doing it just by yourself. Of course, because you have a huge, huge profit then. But the problem, I can't be in five places at once. You know,
Yeah, man,
yeah,
get out quick, huh?
yeah, yeah. You get busy really quick. So was like, well, let's take one of my cousins on. He kind of had this entrepreneurial thought too. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm starting something off. I think I can pay you for a couple of months. It seems to be pretty good. I can't promise you longevity because I don't know. Like I'm in it too, man. I'm going to do everything I can to make it work, but I don't know. And he, lucky for me, he was like, I'm willing to take a shot, man. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. And I tried to teach him everything I could on the sales side of things. I had a good friend of mine that he's really good at sales. He's spent his whole life in sales, and it's kind of funny because he's an accountant. He's not even in sales anymore.
Come
He
on, bro.
he went to
Wasting it,
go
wasting it.
he went to go be an accountant, and man, he has, but he has like crazy stuff on sales, man. He turned me on to listen to people like Grant Cardone, yeah, Ziggy or Ziggly, yeah, dude, some of the greats, man. And
Oh,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and so he just really turned me on to being able to, how do I close the deal? How do I sell this? How do I sell that? So trying to take my cousin under my wing, show him all these different things. I mean, we had really great success. Everything was just kind of falling in place, man. We were making sales, just selling out of the side of my house. Man, I was getting to the point where we were selling $10,000, $20,000 a month. And so I was like, okay, I think we're time. Let's try to get a shop. Let's get a store and see if we could do something. Again, it's like you take that leap of faith, man. It's really scary because everybody wants you to sign a lease for like 3 to 5 years. And it's like, well, man, what if this doesn't work out? I'm on the hook for 3 years for all this money. What am I going to do? But
Burn
you
the
just,
bridge, bro.
yeah,
Burn the bridge.
yeah, yeah, exactly, bro. Burn the bridge, and yeah, that pushes you
No
forward.
turning back now, right?
Exactly, right. So we found the place, man. It's been really great for us. It's about a 4,000 square foot place. They call it like a flex space. So like the front part is kind of like the showroom, and then the back part's kind of like the warehouse area.
Yeah.
But we kind of combined the showroom, and then like half of the warehouse is like an extended showroom, kind of like for overflow, and then bigger appliances like refrigerators and stuff like that. And we try to keep more of the washers and dryers and nicer stoves in the front part of the showroom so that you have good presentation when people come in and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
man.
So tell me, when things started going well, you decided to open a second location. Tell me what you learned about that experience.
So, man, that's one of the things about this game too, man, is when you get in it, man, you make money so fast and you have such good success. Assuming you're doing things good, you're doing things the right way and stuff like that. Man, you just have success is so quick. And yeah, so I was like, hey man, we're gonna open a second store, and I'm gonna be able to double what I'm doing here. And unfortunately, that did not quite work out the right way. So one thing for sure is patience. Patience is key, man. I'm a fisherman, and I should have known, man. I like fishing for bass, and so I should have known patience. You got to have patience, right? And
That's strong.
yeah, and I jumped into it, man. I started hiring some other employees to get things situated. So I had a tech, I had a couple different sales guys, I had a delivery team. I thought I had everything good to go. So it moved me out of being self-employed and more of into a manager position. The problem was, you had Ray on recently, and oh man, he had some great advice, honestly. And I wish I would have been able to find somebody like that
Me
three,
too.
4 years ago.
Me too.
I unfortunately was getting to the point here where I'm in Colorado, and I was getting to the point where I was getting bigger and having more success than most of the people that I knew that were, kind of fixing and flipping that you meet on Facebook and Facebook groups. There's a lot of guys pretty much only doing it out of their house and not getting to that next level of a store. I was at the point where I was at a store having great success, and then I was stuck in this in between area where you have a store and you're doing good. You're still a small business, but now you're starting to compete against people that are doing this more on a national
Professional.
level. Yeah, yeah, and multi-million dollar businesses that also sell scratch and dent or the refurbished side. And I just didn't really have the knowledge and somebody to mentor me to say, hey, this is how you get to that next level. And I thought just doing what I had been doing for the success I had, like, okay, I'm just going to be able to double it. And yeah, that didn't work out, man. One of the things that I was really, really lacking that I didn't fully understand, and I had some of these concepts, I had like the grasp of some of them. Other ones, I didn't quite fully have the understanding of it and just wasn't able to implement it all the way right. Like, SOPs, man, SOPs are very vital. I
Yep.
really didn't think about that before. I kind of had my sales guys and was like, hey, okay, this I trained you. This is how you handle stuff, and then okay, go do good things, right? Instead of okay, hey man, we're gonna have a written thing down here that we're gonna follow. So when I'm not around, this is the answer to the question, right? So you don't need to come ask me for X, Y, and Z. You already know what the answer is. And I think also the importance with the SOP, not only with that, with establishing a guideline for everybody else to follow, they don't need to ask you 100 questions a day. is it also keeps your feet to the fire. One of the things you kind of run into is sometimes you get a customer that you may have to issue a refund or something like that, right? And we offer a 90-day warranty. We have an extended 6-month warranty program thing that we have too. But I really try to take care of my customers as best as I can. And so even though I only offer a 90-day, I really give them an extra month grace period, because the way I look at it is my appliances generally should last at least a year, and they usually do. But sometimes you just can't. If the customer is using it a certain way or whatever, some things are just out of your control. And so I try to be really good with my customers. And hey, man, if it's a month out, we'll work with you. But the only problem was I didn't have a strict guideline that said, like, okay, exactly 30 days after the warranty, after that, you're done. Like, we can't do anything for you. I'm trying to work with you as much as I can. And then you get in this wishy-washy area. So it's like one customer you do, one customer you don't. And so the SOPs are really good to just hold your feet to the fire too. So it makes it easier too to make a decision. So then you could say, well, you're past the 30 days of the grace period that we give you. Unfortunately, we're out of that warranty period, and now we're going to have to do something else with a different option for them or whatever. But
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I want to stop you on the SOPs. I love that. Well, keep digging into the SOPs. Absolutely. That's big. But what I love these days, I'm implementing SOPs like crazy in my business. And even other problems that aren't marketing problems that my clients are coming to me about, I'm building out SOPs for them, bro. We didn't always have a genius advisor, ChatGPT. So having ChatGPT has been major for SOPs, and I see a lot of guys missing implementing SOPs. Keep digging in on that, bro, and how it helped you solve those problems for you.
Yeah, man. So it's just it's very vital to you. Like I said, I can't be in 5 places at once, and then managing 2 stores, you're having to oversee the employees at both places, 2 separate locations, the inventory. It's a lot of moving pieces, right? And so having to figure out, like, okay, at one store, if we have deliveries going out, you can no longer, you can't schedule a delivery for the next day after, let's say, 2:00, I think was our SOP, because after that time, we didn't have enough time for the truck to be able to come back at the end of the day to go to that store to get the deliveries for the next day, come back to the main hub, and then load everything up, right? So we had to start establishing things like that, to where before it was like I'd get a phone call, hey man, I have somebody who wants to buy this set. Do you think we could squeeze it on for delivery tomorrow? And it's like, no, man, we can't. So it's like establish the guideline, and he already knows too. And then so it makes it easier when he goes to sell, or when he was selling stuff to that customer, to be like, hey, if you purchased it after 2:00, I can't deliver it tomorrow. It's going to have to be the day after or whatever. So that was one example. It really worked out for us. The same thing with deliveries. When we first started, we always do like a 30-minute call ahead. Let the customer know, hey, we're going to be there in 30 minutes or whatever. So if they're having to travel there or whatever, to prepare. But you still run into those times where you get to the delivery and then nobody's there, nobody answers the phone, nobody answers the door, and then they're calling me like, yeah, what should I do? Nobody's here, because like they don't want to get in trouble for leaving right away, but they don't want to wait around forever. And so we had to establish a guideline on that. Like, hey, man, no matter what, you wait 15 minutes. Even if they don't answer on the phone, you always go to the house. So you could say you were there. If they have cameras, whatever, you're there. Hey, we didn't screw you out of some money. You knock on the door. If they don't answer, we call them again. If they don't answer, you leave them a voicemail, and then we wait 15 minutes. And if they're not there in 15 minutes, we're out of there. Make a note on the schedule. Sales guy knows we got to reschedule it whenever they get a hold of us. Just different things like that, man, are very vital. Same thing with technicians. When I had a technician fixing stuff, it's very important to establish a process. That's another thing that I didn't know at the time. We used to kind of fix anything and everything, man, and that was one of the things I also had to kind of get away from. As much as it would kill me when you get stuff off the truck coming back for free, you're like, you look at something, and you're like, oh man, that only needs like a $5 part. I could sell that for like $200 instead of scrapping this out for, $15 or whatever. But sometimes it's just not worth selling certain products that either you're going to have problems with long-term, maybe it's just not like a great quality product, or there's certain problems with that product. Sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes you attract the wrong customer, or you're going to create problems for yourself. That was another thing I didn't learn until later on, when I had met another mentor that like, hey man, you should really limit, if you want to scale your business, you have to limit what you're offering. You can't offer everything under the sun, right? You got to
Yeah, let's talk
specialize.
more about that. I love
Yeah.
that. Because I've recently niched down, bro. I was working on general. Well, first when I started in marketing from appliance repair, I started with appliance guys or whatever, marketing for them. But then I scaled up to home service business in general, and it was really hard to dial in the messaging and build my offers because everybody wasn't looking for the same thing. So I niched down to appliance marketing, right? Appliance stores, retail stores, and appliance repair companies. That way that I could just really focus in and dial in my marketing, number one, and then of course focus on being able to provide better results, get more calls and more, right? So talk a little bit about that, bro, how you niche down. Also, if you want to shout your mentor out, that would be great too, because I'm
Yeah.
sure he's an amazing guy. But talk more about that also, the niching down, and I want to talk more about how important mentorship and things were to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. So one of the mentors I met was this guy, Scott. So Scott
Okay.
Berger, he's big, man.
I know Scott. I love Scott. I want to have him on the podcast
Yeah.
here very soon. I love
Yeah.
it. I thought
Oh,
that's who you
dude.
was talking about, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Great guy.
Dude, Scott is such a great guy. I have
He
nothing
is.
but the highest respect for him, man. At a time where I was trying to reach out to everybody, man. Hey, man, help me out. Can you help? Nobody wants to help you out, right? Nobody wants, they don't want to
I
share
know.
that secret to get you to that next level.
They think they're competing.
Man, it's so hard to find somebody good like that. So, I mean, yeah, he just, I had a 1 hour conversation with him. And like I said, my hat's off to him, man. Biggest respect. I got his number through somebody else, chain of people, right? I messaged him on Facebook. He's probably like, who the hell is this weirdo? I'm like, hey, man, I just would love to spend 5 minutes just bounce some ideas off of you or just talk to you, man. He's like, it was already late. He's in another state, man. He's like 2 hours behind me. I'm getting ready to get my hot tub and kind of focus my mind. He's like, hey, dude, I'll call you in 5 minutes. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Calls me. He's like, yeah, we're just closing up, man. I'm staying late. Talk to me for like an hour and a half, man. And I was just like, wow, dude, thank you so much for giving me that time. Like, holy cow, dude. But yeah,
he's an
man. Like,
amazing man, and he knows his shit. And I love their podcast too. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah, dude,
good
their
people over
podcast,
there.
dude. Gabe's awesome, dude. I had been talking to
Derek,
Gabe.
shout out Derek Dennis. He's the
Yeah,
man too.
Derek too, dude. Yeah, Derek, if you're watching this, I was trying, man, I tried to talk to you a couple of times. I haven't heard back yet. I haven't heard a message, but
He's a
yeah, I
great
tried
guy.
talking
I'll
to
text him
Gabe.
here in a minute, bro, and I'll let him know you're trying to reach out, bro. He's just so busy. Being a
Yeah,
celebrity like Derek, that's what
yeah,
comes with it.
yeah, I know, man. Yeah, these guys are killing it, man. Dude, Ben's Appliance, dude. But yeah, so dude, Scott really just turned me on some stuff, man. So like I said, one of the biggest things I was doing wrong is just trying to sell anything and everything, dude. I have 4,000 square feet. I got to limit what I can sell, right? I need money makers. I need stuff that's dependable. So luckily for me, I had been tracking all kinds of data. And Scott's, man, huge on data.
Yeah,
I
he
had
is.
been tracking all kinds of data, didn't even know what I was going to need it for, but I just was tracking stuff, right? And so one of the things I was tracking was service calls. What am I fixing? How often am I fixing it? At what point in the life cycle am I fixing it, right? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, whatever. So after talking with Scott, he's like, dude, limit down what you're selling. Pick a couple items that you think are going to be good or that work good for you, and then focus on those. So I went back and looked at the data. I'm like, dude, you're right, man. I have this good, better, best model, right? That he taught me. He was like, hey, we have this good, better, best model. You have your base product and then a set price for that. And you have your middle product, a set price for that, and then your best product. And we base that off of our service calls and the age of the appliance. So our good model is usually a lot of people that rental companies want. The old direct drives. It's not to say that there's a lot of problems with them. We have a lot of service calls, but it's an older product. It's still a great product, but there's stuff that breaks. And then we kind of have like our middle line that it's like we have a few service calls here and there on it, but overall, it's going to be a better product than the good product, and it's newer. And then we have our best product, right? And that's generally we don't have any problems with it. Of course, it's going to have a higher market price. So it did a couple of different things for us. It established what we sell, right? So then I can focus on too when I'm getting stuff or trying to purchase appliances to fix and flip or whatever. Hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I want these specific items, right? And these brands or these models, right? And
Yo, bro, I
then,
love it. You're dropping gold. Can I slow you down right there? Can you give me an
yeah,
example of like the gap of those three prices?
yeah. So, like our good, so our prices here in Colorado, there's a lot of competition here around me, man. I really wish I lived sometimes in other places like Texas or something, because you guys are killing, dude. Louisiana probably too, man. Prices are so much
Come
higher.
on.
But
Yeah.
so here, like a direct drive set is like roughly 350 to 400 for the set, right? So that's like what our good model is. And
Okay.
then for the better, it's about $150 more. And
Okay.
so about 550. And then the best is generally going to be anywhere between 650 to 750, just depending.
Got
We also kind
it. Okay.
of so then we have some other things built into that with like colors. So if it's just a plain white set, then that's like the base price is that, like, let's say if it's a good product, right? The base price 350. But if you start adding color, so maybe it's like those old Kenmores that have like the gray set, right? It adds a little bit of uniqueness to it. So then we bump it up $50. So then it's $40
Cool.
because you have this other color to it. Different things like that. Front loads, if it's on pedestals, we'll add $50 to that. If the cubic size is bigger, so the cubic footage, if it's like the Maytags where they have the extra large capacity, right? We'll bump that up another $50 because it's a larger unit. So we kind of have that baseline like that for the prices. And then that made it easier when you go to sell, right? Because one of the biggest problems we used to run into, man, and people will come in and they're like, well, okay, you have this dryer here for, let's say, $200. So like that's like, so for like our dryers, right? They go 150, 200, 250. You have some different colors and then we'll probably go to like 300. Why is this dryer for 150 and this dryer over here for 200, right?
You get
And
a
so
chance. All right.
before, man, honestly, I mean, I don't have a set guideline, right? I'm like, because this one has more features, or because this was in a little bit better condition. You're trying to pull answers out of the hat, man, and people can see that, man. But then what that leads to is people trying to bargain you, right? Then it leads to, well, can you give me this one for 150? I'll take it today, right? And then you're just kind of caught in this awkward place. So establishing those prices really helps deter the bargaining from customers, and it gives value to the product of why you're selling it for the price you are. This is why it's 200, man. When we started doing that, two things happened, and Scott told me both things would happen. Number one, you're going to lose a little bit of customers. Sales are going to dip a little bit because you're doing something different. We're firm on prices. There's no bargaining. We're not, uh,
You know what you need to have.
yeah, it's like we were firm on prices, man. Price is what it is. Built in, the cost is built in, the parts that we put into it. This is why it is what it is.
Love
And
it.
so the bargaining stopped. Sales dipped a little bit. The next month after that, though, clientele changed, which was actually good. So we sometimes it's good to have items really, really, really cheap so you can move it and make money. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you run into some customers, they want to spend bottom dollar and then they expect a high-end appliance. And right, you just can't have
I
both.
love it.
And then you're putting yourself as a business owner in an awkward situation because then you're getting killed if they leave a bad review. Reviews are so vital when you're so small starting off. It's just a really bad spot to be in. So by changing that, we changed our marketing, and the clientele that was coming in now was no longer the person that. The best way I guess I could describe it is the way Scott did. He's like, I have customers. If their washer breaks, they don't expect me to go out there tomorrow. They can wait a week, 3 or 4 days for us to be able to set the service call up to go out there and take care of them. When you're selling to a different clientele, it breaks, they're calling you, you need to come out right now. I'm your main focus. I'm your only customer. You need to be out here right now and fix it, right? And it doesn't work that way, man.
That's so interesting. It's a great perspective. And oh, wait, so yeah, let me clarify too. Are you selling scratch and dent?
No, not right now. We don't
Used?
sell scratch and dent. It's all refurbished.
Okay,
Yep.
cool, awesome, love it. So, and in the industry, bro, a lot of people think that they have to compete on price
Yeah.
because it's the used appliance industry. But this right here proves that obviously not. Keep going, bro. I love this.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So we set our prices, we focused more on customer service too. Not saying we didn't have good customer service before, but establishing those SOPs too is very vital for that. So it's like, okay, I can't be there to answer the phone with my sales guy and answer 100 questions for him when somebody calls and says, hey, my dryer's not heating or whatever, right? So came up with a quick little cheat sheet. It's like 5 questions that we ask. And so that way, some of the stuff that could be easily filtered through, maybe like, check your circuit breaker. Just double check your circuit breaker and make sure it's not tripped. So you're getting the proper voltage. That may fix the problem. Did you, just double check your lint filter, make sure it's not all caked up. So I have like a list of like 5 or 6 questions that he can ask the customer when they call in and say, hey, I'm having an issue with whatever it is that they're having. And then this way it filters out if he can solve the problem without me having to go out there, then like perfect, man. And it's like if you continue to have the problem or whatever, call back, or if it's kind of a flow chart thing, right? If you have this problem, then okay, set up for a service call. And then this way I know too, okay, this is the problem that the customer is saying they have. Through my experience, I already know, okay, if the customer is saying it sounds like a bunch of rocks are in the dryer, it's probably a roller, right? So I know that when I go to the service call, I have a service van, but I can only put so many parts in there, right? And I can't carry everything. So it's like, okay, I have a selection of rollers or whatever. So it's like, I know I need to have the rollers to go to this call. I just make it more efficient and faster for me too, right? So then when I'm there, I'm in and out. The customer's like, you're done? That took 10 minutes. That's it, man. I want to inconvenience you the least amount that I can. I'm out of your house. I'm out of your hair. Like, you're good to go. And then,
a lot of people aren't listening. I'm sorry, bro. But I wanted to say, I love what you said there. A lot of people aren't really focused on finding out what's it doing. They're not wanting to take a lot of advice from the customer because they think the customer may or may not be not knowing what they're talking about, right? So it's very important that you're asking those questions before you go. That helps you pregame the call and make more money.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then, with limiting our product that we offer for sale too, so that makes it easier on the other ends too, with parts that I keep in stock, parts I don't need to keep, like I don't really sell Frigidaire washers and dryers, right? Okay. So now I don't need to keep the little bearings, the bearing piece in the back, right? And the grease and, just random stuff like I don't need to keep, dude, because, before I maybe sell 1 or 2 of those. And it's like, so you're keeping these random pieces that you might use throughout, once a year. And it's one of those things, if you don't have it, then you have to order it. Then I have the customer waiting. And so I'm like, man, just limit our product down. I'm able to keep all the parts that I need. You get more efficient at the repairs, right? Because if you're working on the same 5 or 6 brands all the time, you see the same 5 or 6 problems. You really master that machine, and then you get so much faster what's going on. And then it becomes vital for me too, when we're talking to the customer, and then they say, it kind of reminds me because my dad was a mechanic forever, so he's so used to, what's the car doing? It's going ka-cha, or it's whatever noises that people make, and it's like, oh, okay, I know what that sound is, like you already know. Yep. So
it sounds like a jet taking off. Well, we know what that is.
There's a bearing, right? Yeah, so it's like those common issues, and then so you say, okay, the washer's not, it's draining the water, but it's not spinning my clothes out. Okay, well, if it's a newer one, it's probably the shifter, right? Shifter's probably broken. I already know that, man. So it's like it just makes you so much faster and more convenient like that. But creating those SOPs for him, that helped out, and limiting the product. God, man, that helped out so much too. Sales wise, just, the product placement too, it helps out that, because then you have this good, better, best model. So it's like, okay, in the front of my showroom, I can put, either the good and drive people in, or I could put a couple best items. So if I want something to move right away, that's the first thing you see when you come in here, whatever, there's so much more stuff that you can do with product placement that actually makes sense, instead of, before I already kind of knew that, but when you're offering everything under the sun, it's like you don't have these levels of prices, and then stuff's kind of all around. Like, well, I don't know, this looks like a good place for that to be, right? Instead of now, it's more of a getting to that professional level, right? Where it's a science, where this item is specifically in the spot for a reason, or different things like that, and you don't realize it, how much value and how much revenue that can create, until you start getting to that point and you start playing around with that, and you're like, dude, I'm selling if I want a certain item to sell within a certain amount of time, I don't like to say I can just instantly do it, but it's like if I put it somewhere and I market it a certain way, chances are it's probably going to sell within a day or two. And I'm just creating money for myself. It's like having a printing machine, man. Once you
Yeah,
start figuring it, I mean, just like marketing, man. Marketing is so valuable, right? Just the little things. I started a podcast myself. It's called Appliance Blueprint Podcast. And so I
bro,
had a
I didn't even
Facebook
realize
group.
that. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I'll be asking you to be on there, man. So what I've been trying to do is I also started an appliance. So I have a couple of different appliance groups, but I started one that kind of leads into that. That's called the Appliance Hustle. And so what I've been
Okay.
trying to do is help other people, I guess, kind of as like a mentor giantly to help everybody. But my goal is to try to help somebody that like you just have a wrench or something, dude, a screwdriver, and you're playing around at the house, you fix your own dryer, and then you're like, hey, I wonder if I could make a little extra money. I'm gonna take that person. Like, the podcast is set up to show you, like, hey, look specifically for these items. These items are the easiest to fix. They're the
Mhm.
easiest to move, the easiest to install. They're the cheapest to fix. You can find these parts. Like, start with this stuff, man. Do X, Y, and Z. And I'm kind of walking the people through on the podcast. So we're actually just getting to this next episode that'll be coming out, talking about like copy, right? How important copy is, man, and things like that. And then we'll probably start shifting. The next episode will be on sales, and then we're going to start getting to marketing too, because I also want to help out the people that get to the place where I'm at too, that have a business, and then they're like, well, I never thought about like if I had an ad a certain way, or if I wrote my copy a certain way that I had a call to action button on there that might increase my sales by $5,000 a month.
Absolutely, it's the small tweaks, right?
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. So
That's
there's a lot of things that I learned going through those struggles and the pains of my second store. And unfortunately, I ended up having to close that store because I just was not at a good spot. I had to really pull back, refocus, and then start really trying to buckle down and focus on the things that the SOPs and the things to help kind of regrow the business. One of the other
yeah,
things that Scott had told me, and then I think even Derek and Gabe have touched on it too, or I think Derek might have mentioned it. Spot on, man. Is one of the best or easiest ways to try to expand and grow is master something and then replace yourself, right?
mhm,
Master sales, if that's what it is, man, then replace yourself and then move on to delivery. Master the delivery, replace yourself. And then keep moving like that. And then you're going to find good people and you're going to have the processes down that you want, right? And then as you replace yourself, eventually you get to the point where you be the manager. And then you're stepping outside and running things. So
yeah, dude, I love that. Real quick on that, I definitely agree, 1,000%. A lot of people before they were entrepreneurs, I was anyway, I was not the best at sticking at one job, right? I would go master that job, get bored with it, move to next, move to next, move to the next. Well, once we get dialed into our business or whatever, a lot of time we get stuck in the weeds, and then we end up self-employed for way too long. I love what you're saying about mastering one certain thing and then moving forward with that, replacing yourself, of course, and then learning the new thing, right? And that's a lot about that's been what's helped me grow so far as well. That's huge. I love that. But I
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
also say, bro, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, so it seems like you actually building your system out, and obviously getting a coach or a mentor was massive for the business. You're on the up and up now. Obviously, you're making gains. You're growing. You're up to like 3 techs now, I think you said. But tell me, were there moments where you thought about like shutting the business down? Tell me what kept you pushing.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So when I got that other store, I had to sign a 3-month lease, and then I kind of learned some things on that too. So I took for granted the first one, this first place that I got in the lease, and the contract was it's pretty loose, and these people are really great people, and so everything's worked out really good. The new place that I had gotten a lease for, they're really smart businessmen, smarter than me. So they had a lot of things written into the contract where it was things like if you end up breaking the lease and you take us to court, you have to pay our legal fees. You have to do X, Y, and Z. And at the time, I'm sure I probably could have rebuked that in the lease, like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Take this out. But
Wanted the deal.
yeah, I mean, and I was at this point where it was like, well, I was building so much momentum. I was like, I need to get another place like now. I'm building all this inventory up. I'm running out of inventory. I need a second place. Like, I crunched myself into a timeline. And so I was really forced into like, okay, you're just gonna have to sign it and take it and get this place. I was paying a lot more money than what I wanted to pay for it. So, just a lot of things like that. But as it was going, the business was very profitable. The other location was profitable. I mean, both places were profitable, but it just logistically, in dealing with the employees, it was getting really tough. It was hard to make sure that things were staying, I guess, at pace that I wanted to, and delivering the level of quality service that I wanted to too. I didn't want to just start growing and then just offering a bunch of crap to people and then getting a bad name. During that time too is when I started learning about building a brand, because I had started advertising on TV with commercials and stuff like that. Started really learning about building a brand. Sorry, I don't mean to get off topic, but it was just building a brand.
Oh,
Stuff
I
like
love
that.
your mascot, by the way. I like the brand.
Yeah, thanks, man. So yeah, learned a lot of things about that because I kind of had web pages. I had all these different things, had different pictures, different signs. Like, yeah, put everything together in one, really focus on that, really push that out, really drive that. So, we were building a really great brand. Everything was going good. And then so I was just worried, like, man, I don't want to lower my quality of service. I don't want to start getting bad reviews. That's just not going to be good. It's not what I want to do, right? And at the end of the day, I really enjoy helping people too. Of course, I love making money, but I really do love helping people, man. And, I look at things of, we're selling a refrigerator to somebody, we're, instead of just selling a refrigerator, we're keeping somebody's food cold. We're providing a service for somebody's family, keeping their food cold. We're keeping their clothes clean so their kids don't stink when their clothes don't stink when they go to school and they don't get picked on. You know what I mean? I mean, we're making a difference, man. You're providing a stove, man, for somebody to cook their food, cook the Thanksgiving meal to be with their family. So I really tried to focus on that. That's generally how I am. Trying to help people out. And so when the store started getting rough, man, it was like, man, I really don't want to have to fire people, but at the same time, we're starting to get to this point now. One of the sales guys I had started really having some trouble, some issues, and so the profit margin was starting to get to the point where this just doesn't make sense. I wasn't quite at a loss, but this isn't making sense, right?
I was getting scared.
And so then it started getting to the point where it was like, now my cash flow is starting to get dried up. And I mean, being an appliance, right? If you're fixing to flip it, cash flow is vital, man. Well, I guess in any retail, really, right? You got to have cash flow. You got to be able to buy stuff, man. And so the cash flow started really getting tight. Debt started mounting, and it was really starting to get to the point where I really had to question myself, man. What am I doing? Why am I keeping this business open when I could easily just close like one store, or I could start laying people off, go back to a two-man show and have crazy profit months, right? But I started looking at it and was like, well, not only am I a business owner and I have employees, but I support their family, right? I'm providing a lifestyle for them. So not only am I supporting my family, but I'm supporting their family, and I have all these other people looking up to me. So it's like, that's not right, man, to just be like, hey, things didn't work out. I gotta cut you loose, man. Sorry about that, because I want to fatten my pockets.
Yeah.
It's just not me, So it was like, well, what can we do to either increase profit, or how can I save money, still be able to provide for my guys, see light at the end of the tunnel, and keep the business like going. And so I really buckled down, man. I spent a lot of time just in deep thought, really thinking, trying a lot of different things, and was like, hey, you know what? We could do some other things to start increasing revenue. We started charging people if there's certain items that like we'll recycle, but I don't sell them, like maybe like dishwashers, right? I just don't sell them. I think there's too much of a liability when you go to connect the water lines, just a whole bunch of stuff like that. So in my opinion, we just don't sell them. But it was like, okay, well, we can offer like a recycling program, and maybe we could charge people like $20 to drop them off here or something, right?
Yeah.
Before we know it, it was like oh man, this is generating some revenue, right? This is kind of adding up. And then this is a little niche where other people aren't doing things where I'm at. So it was like, okay. So there's one way that we kind of figured out to start making some money. Then it was like, well, you know what, man, I'm scrapping out a lot of stuff. Like maybe I have like some parts that I can sell on eBay. Because before I did this, I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've sold stuff on eBay, Amazon, did some retail arbitrage, a lot of different things, right? Made money here
Cool.
and there, but never really a living wage. And then so I kind of was starting to go back to my roots and was like, well, maybe we could sell some stuff on eBay. Maybe we can create some income doing these other things. And so, we started doing that, man. I started making some more income. It kind of leveled out. It was like, all right, man, before I knew it, it was like, okay, I only have like a year left on this other lease. In the meantime, they're trying to lease it out to other people to get me out of the lease, but it just wasn't working out. So it was like, okay, I have one more year. If I could just make it one more year, once I get back and able to regroup, I'm going to be so much stronger. And,
Mm.
going through that tough time, man, it really built me a lot of confidence, because then I knew that even when you're at your low point, and dude, it's scary, bro. When you're like looking at a lease that, I'm paying almost like $80,000 a year for, and it's like, dude, I have another 2 years, and if I cut the lease, I'm on the hook for that money. And then it's like, well, what about like, your other lease? And so it's like, dude, that's scary. I mean, like, man, I'm looking at if I gotta come up with this money, I'm gonna have to like sell my house or something. And like you said, burn the
Yeah.
bridge, bro. And it's like, you're gonna figure it out. And
Yeah.
so I'm not a quitter, man. And so I just really buckled down. I was like, okay, what can we do? And we just started solving problems. You just take one problem at a time. You look at, when I was in the military, so I'm a vet. I was in the military a long time
Cool.
ago in
Thank you for your
Iraq and
service,
stuff.
bro.
And yeah, man. And, one of the things we used to train on, especially as we got into higher leadership, is they call it like going black when stuff just goes nuts, right? You go to this where all you see is black, man, and then you're not really paying attention to what's going on. You're not thinking about things. And so the easiest
Mm.
way to get out of that is to solve one problem. Just start with the simplest problem. Instead of looking at everything that's overwhelming you, just start with one thing. Like where am I at? What's going on right now? Find, if you're being shot at or something in war, find cover, right? That's the first
Bro,
thing you
that's
do,
the
like
strongest
protect
advice I've
yourself,
heard in
right?
a long time. I love it.
Yeah, and so it's the same thing to the business. Just instead of trying to look at all the problems and doom and gloom, start with one problem. How can I increase revenue? Okay. Um, I think I can offer, a recycling program or something. Okay, let's work on that. Let's solve that problem. And then let's look at another problem. Then and just attacking things like that, dude, it helped me out so much. And then now being back at one store and really growing now, it's just like, dude, it's crazy amount of success, And then even going through that hard time, man, believe it or not, we even so there's a couple local awards we have here. Not really a whole lot, but there's a couple. But there's one
Yeah.
that's called the Best of Mile High. So they have like tons of different categories. It's a really cool little program. They really support like tons of small businesses, right? It's mainly for small businesses, not big businesses, not big box stores. But they consider a small business still like these professional level appliance stores that I'm dealing with, multi-million-dollar businesses. It's still really tough. But yeah, through 2025, man, we ended up being the best appliance store, and it's based
That's
off of your
good.
reviews. Um, it's not a voting system. It's basically all just voted off of like your reviews, your Google
Yeah.
reviews and stuff. So like, I mean, you got to be good, right? You can't be offering a crappy product, dude, or else, And so that's one thing that's really cool about it. They don't bid on the views. But anyway, so we won in 25, and then we just got nominated again this year, so we're in the top three. Going up against another couple big box stores. So if we're able to beat them, I mean, it's going to be huge. And that success for us also helps us to build a brand too, right? And then so we get all
Yeah.
kinds of
That's
customers
momentum.
coming in, and they're like, we're trustworthy. And it's like, yeah, one of my favorite lines I used to always use when I was doing more of the selling was, like, I wouldn't sell you anything I wouldn't sell my own mom, or I
Yeah.
wouldn't give you an appliance I wouldn't give one of my own family members. That's how much I believe in whatever I'm giving you. So yeah, man, having that review is like it's huge, man. Having that award. Hopefully, we win it again this year. We'll know here in a couple weeks. So we'll see. But yeah, man. I mean, just solve one problem at a time, move to the next, man. That's huge. That's something too that
That's
I wish I would have known. And I think even Ray, he talked about, I know he talked a lot on like SOPs and stuff in his book, that he made too. And yeah, man, that information was so vital. I so wish I would have had something available to me like that, or I would have found it. Maybe it was available, and I just couldn't find it, man. I don't know. I was
Yeah,
scouring everywhere looking for
it
stuff,
wasn't
and I couldn't
available.
find
I'm
it.
telling you, I was looking for it too, but I didn't find it either. I'm thankful for Ray, and I hope we have some other options coming up soon too, for coaches, because that's giant, man. We definitely need more of that. Yeah, so dude, obviously what you're doing is working. It's awesome. Congrats on winning the awards, and you're definitely going to win this year. I wanted to see if you had one last thought for these guys that's possibly struggling. They're maybe in the shop still working on their appliances. What kind of advice do you have for them to be able to get out of the weeds and ultimately be able to grow their business past where they're at right now?
Yeah, man. I think probably one of the biggest things, man, is just you got to have patience and confidence. When I first started my business, I had there was just a lot going against me anyways, but I had a lot of people, oh, it's not going to work out for you. This isn't, you're not doing very well, whatever. Just a lot of negativity, and you got to really be positive and confidence in yourself and really believe in what you're doing. And I think when you buckle down like that, man, the possibilities are just endless. And you're willing to push yourself so much further and do so much more work to get you past those humps. One of the best things that I ever heard, and I forget who I heard it from. It might have been Dan Locke or it might have been Grant Cardone. But one of the greatest things I heard, man, was you never know what's going to be behind that next obstacle, right? So if you're selling stuff and you're like, man, I just seems like I can't sell enough, you just never know that next customer that maybe comes in that you sell, that's going to be the one that just throws you over the edge. Because like maybe they're huge in the rental community, right? And they're like this one landlord and they have a good experience with you. And then maybe they have a bunch of seminars and stuff, dude. And then they're like, hey, go to this appliance store. They have good product, whatever, dude. You never know what that one obstacle is that's holding you back. And when you break that barrier, it's just like boom, all of a sudden you have this like huge success, this rocket, like, you just never know where that's going to be, man. And how would you know, or how would you feel if you gave up, you threw the towel in, and then come to find out, man, if I would have just sold for one more, if I had my business for one more week, I might have had this, $100,000, contract or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so you just got to keep pushing on, man. You just got to keep driving because you just never know what's going to be on that next hill. What's over that? I think that's probably the biggest thing I could say, man.
That's
Just keep
giant,
pushing on
bro.
because you never know what's going to be on the other side.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I appreciate you coming on, bro, and being open with us today and sharing your experience and your successes and your losses. If the people want to find your group, any website you want to tell them about, yeah, let us know about it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I have the Appliance Blueprint podcast. You find, Spotify, YouTube. On Facebook, I have the Appliance Hustle. It's like a Facebook group, and then the podcast is
Cool.
also filtered through there and stuff too. So I'm trying to share as many tips and tricks as I can. A lot of this, there's so many videos out there already helping people out. Scott and Gabe, dude, are killing it too. So just kind of funnels, I guess, back and forth to there and stuff. But yeah, anything
There
like
can
that.
never be enough content, right?
Yeah. I really appreciate you having me on, man. Dude, you're doing huge things, man. I seen you around for a long time, man, actually in the Facebook groups and then even selling the marketing stuff. And I was like a little hesitant. I'm like, I don't know, man, because I tried some marketing stuff with some other people. I don't know. And then you came out of this
Me too.
Facebook group and stuff. I'm like, I seeing a face to you, and I was like, oh man, yeah, this dude's killing it, bro. I'm like, I loved your story. I love what you're putting out. I'm like, yeah, man, I got to get on with this guy. I'm gonna have, like I said, man, I have to have you on my podcast. We're gonna have to talk about marketing and just, we could we could have a whole podcast just on marketing, breaking it down, right? Copy,
Absolutely.
brands, SEO, like, dude, tons of stuff, man. So we definitely got to link up, man.
No, let's do it, man. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate you. And excited to move forward with you in the future, bro. Let me get on that podcast. I definitely want to come on chat more. But yeah, bro, appreciate you and go kill
Yeah.
it, bro.
Right on. Thanks, bro.
All
See you
right,
there.
thanks. Later.
Later.